I was inspired to write The Book Thief because of just memories of sitting in my kitchen when I was a kid, hearing stories my parents told me, and it was like we were all glued to our seats, hearing stories of bombings and getting up out of the ground, out of the bomb shelters in Munich and in Austria. There was one day when my mother heard a noise. She was 6 years old, and she heard this noise from the main street, and she ran with the other kids, and they thought it would be cattle coming down the main street of this village where she lived, but it wasn't cattle, it was people. And there was an old man who couldn't keep up. He was staggering over the road, and it was a teenage boy who went into his house, got a piece of bread, and gave it to this man, who fell to his hands and knees, grabbed him by the feet, or grabbed him by the ankles, and cried into his feet, thanking him. And then a soldier came, ripped the bread away, and whipped the old man for taking it, and then chased the boy and beat him to the ground and whipped him for giving him the bread. And it was that story that really inspired the book, I think, because on one hand you've got pure beauty, which is the boy giving the bread, and on the other you've got pure destruction, which is the soldier doing what he did. And you bring those two things together and you've got humans and what we're capable of. And so I heard stories like that, stories of my dad not wanting to go to Hitler Youth, and people who didn't want to hang their flags in their windows, and I thought, I'm going to write about those people. I wanted to write a 100-page novella, and it just turned into a book. I got a bit carried away, and it turned into a book that was a bit longer, and a book that now just means everything to me. Well, I decided to use death as the narrator of the book purely because there's that expression that war and death are like best friends. So I thought, who better to tell this story set in Nazi Germany, because death was everywhere at that time and place. And I thought, well, what's the opposite of this all-powerful death? And I thought, vulnerable death. What if death was afraid of us? What if death was haunted by humans? And that was the big question. That was the breakthrough, because I thought, not only is it unexpected, it makes sense as well, because death is on hand to see all of the terrible things humans do to each other. And I realised what the book was about at that point, and it was trying to find beautiful moments in an ugly time. Probably the most asked question about the book when it comes to where should this sit on the bookshelf is this a young adult book or is it an adult book? I just think, well, I didn't sit down to write a good young adult book or a good adult book. I really tried to write someone's favourite book. The other thing to remember is I thought nobody would read the book. A 500-page book set in Nazi Germany, the narrator's death. You think, how do you recommend that to your friends? I thought, no one's going to read this. I thought, well, I might as well do this exactly how I want to do it and follow my own vision for the book and write in exactly the style I want. That's when it really took off. So I think half of writing a book is just forgetting that there's even a world that exists beyond the book. To be a writer, I think, has nothing to do with being published in a lot of ways. If a ray of light came out of the sky and said to me, all right, your next book will never see the light of day. It won't be published, you won't be paid a cent, nobody will ever read it. And the question is, would I still write the book? And the answer is definitely yes. And that's what makes me write my next book, knowing that that is true. For me, writing should be fun, and it should be like you can play with words. And I think that's what I like most about writing, is just playing with words and getting a sense that an author is enjoying writing and just having fun with it and playing a little as well.